I'm Amanda Burrell, and I'm in Brazil, where rubbish is power.
And I'm Sinead O'Shea, and I'm in New York, where they're cooling down the rooftops.
I'm Omar Khalifa, and I'm in Abu Dhabi's state-of-the-art zero-carbon eco-city.
And I'm Russell Beard in South Wales to meet a big thinker who's passionate about sustainable farming.
This is just a tiny part of the 26,000 tons of rubbish that are produced by the state of São Paulo in Brazil every day. And around half of that is produced by the city of São Paulo alone. This is dangerous stuff because as it decomposes, it produces methane, which pollutes the atmosphere and contributes to global warming. I'm Amanda Burrell, and I've come here to find out how this can be converted into energy. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I've never seen so much rubbish. And I don't know what half of it is. Hi, Amanda.
Olá, Bruno.
God, you work in quite a place, don't you? And how bad is this stuff?
O aterro sanitário funciona como grande biodigestor. É gerado biogás. Acima de 50% é metano. Ele ajuda a propiciar o aquecimento global. 21 vezes maior do que o CO2. O metano ele continua sendo gerado até quando toda a matéria orgânica disposta no aterro seja decomposta. Isso é em torno de 20 anos.
So that's a long time. You're kind of standing on top of this living mound of rubbish. Clearly a really massive problem that lasts way beyond when the lorries dump it all here. Methane makes up over half the biogas generated here. The rest consists of other gases, mostly carbon dioxide. The traditional way of destroying the highly explosive methane is to flare it. But there's an alternative solution. This is Banderantes landfill. For nearly 3 decades, it took half of São Paulo's rubbish. That stopped 4 years ago, and the area's been grassed over. But underneath me, the rubbish is still decomposing and producing a lot of methane. And here, that methane is converted into electricity. There are 38 million tons of rubbish under the ground here. And in some places, it's nearly 100 meters deep. Gosh, what's going on here?
Aqui nós temos a captação do gás metano produzido em toda essa extensão. Então existe uma malha por baixo dessa manta de tubos enterrados em diversos níveis de profundidade do aterro. Cada coletor envia para este poço vertical para o site de queima e geração de energia.
So what's happening here?
Ele está fazendo a medição de pressão de cada poço que nós temos aqui no local, sugando o gás que nós temos contido nesse site e enviando para a queima. Então ele tem que estar com a pressão negativa.
A vacuum pulls the biogas up through the pipe. It joins a network of 45 kilometers of pipeline, which leads to the power plant. 5,000 cubic meters of gas are collected every hour, and they all come here. You can actually smell it. I didn't notice it so much out there, but inside here there's quite a pungent smell, isn't there? It's kind of...
O gás ele vem a uns 23 graus de lá e vai entrar em contato aqui e vai ser refrigerado instantaneamente. Essa refrigeração ocasiona no condensamento da parte líquida, essa parte úmida que tem o gás também. Aqui é uma superfície filtrante, porque o gás ele é separado da parte líquida, então o gás ele vai seco aqui. A temperatura precisa ser elevada. Como é que faz? Essas máquinas elas são responsáveis pela aplicação da sucção lá no aterro, para trazer o gás. E o próprio trabalho ali dentro do compressor vai aumentar a temperatura.
That is really hot. The difference between this and this, yeah, it's a massive, massive difference. And actually, inside there's such a noise coming from inside here that you can really feel the power of the motor. I mean, I can't hear myself think, so I don't know if you can hear me speak, but there's so much power coming from inside here. Once the biogas has been heated to around 50 degrees centigrade, it's sent into the engine room. I'm not allowed to touch anything, otherwise I might get burnt to a cinder.
and I have to put these headphones on because it's incredibly loud in there. Here we go.
The 24 biogas-powered engines each drive an electric generator. They're internal combustion engines, so they still produce carbon dioxide. One molecule of methane combusts with 2 molecules of oxygen to become 2 molecules of water and 1 of carbon dioxide. When you consider that 1 methane molecule has 21 times more global warming potential than 1 of carbon dioxide, that's not really a bad result. And on top of that, the combustion of the methane powers the generator to create electricity.
A energia gerada lá na nossa usina é passada para cá para que a concessionária possa distribuir a tensão de 13.800 volts diretamente na rede pública que vai abastecer toda a região. É suficiente para atender até 400.000 pessoas na geração de energia limpa, que você não tem, por exemplo, queima de combustível fóssil, né?
How many tons of methane have been prevented from getting into the atmosphere?
Era aproximadamente 220.000 toneladas de metano, né?
Sounds a lot.
É um número bem grande.
You can see the houses beyond the landfill here, and these are supplied by the grid, which the electricity created here is fed into. It's amazing that a pollutant can be turned into a source of clean energy. What, of course, would be even more amazing is if that pollutant wasn't created in the first place, and if people stopped producing so much rubbish.
The more people, the more heat. In cities of over 1 million inhabitants, the temperature can be up to 12 degrees Celsius higher than cities with smaller populations. 5 to 10% of all electricity can be consumed during the summer to compensate for this effect. I'm Sinead O'Shea, and I'm in New York to meet some of its inhabitants who've come up with an ingenious solution to fix this.
Over the past few years, some New Yorkers have begun to paint their roofs white, a simple act which can make a significant difference.
There's a tremendous amount of land area in urban areas that is really just rooftops. In New York, it happens to be somewhere around 12, 13, 14%. They are traditionally incredibly dark surfaces. One of the oldest principles in science is the effect that color has on how much energy a surface absorbs when it's in sunlight. And if you have a black surface, a dark surface, that means it's absorbing all that light. On a clear, sunny day, it's almost like every square foot having a 100-watt light bulb deposit its energy into that surface. So we use a tremendous amount of energy for space cooling in the summer.
White roofs help curb climate change by taking essentially just a layer of energy-saving reflective white paint. It's a special type of white paint, and you literally put it on. It takes the heat from a roof and cuts it down by half, and that makes huge energy savings underneath to a building, to a city, hopefully to the nation.
It's just so simple.
It's simple, it's tangible. Are you all right?
Yeah? No problem. Piece of cake.
Right here are some temperature monitors. They take the temperature of the surface of the roof. They're on different portions of the rooftop. The white part, the gray area, and the black area. Here we wanted to make sure that we understood the kind of tangible change we were making.
So what are the results?
On a 90-degree day, the white roof is about 100 degrees. This black tar roof is 180.
Wow, it's a big difference. And is there a trick to the painting?
Yes, there is. So just glob it on in a big mess. You want it to be nice and thick, so that's what makes it work. You're doing a great job here.
Thank you, Heather. What drew you particularly to this?
I think it was my first project that really made me realize how much power this idea had. I like to see other people do it for the first time. They just come away from it so happy and wanting to be involved.
It's kind of brilliant, and I always find it incredibly cathartic.
The people who are happiest are probably those who've experienced firsthand the effects of a white roof, such as the occupants of the Bowery mission.
Hey there.
The main purpose of our building is for the homeless and needy, but also we incorporated a 6-month discipleship program in it as well.
We're nearly here, eh?
You know, when they came and painted it white, it actually brought a little life to the building, and now you can come up here and actually enjoy it.
It's really nice.
One of the problems we had is directly below this rooftop is the dormitory, and it gets really hot underneath this roof. And we're pouring a lot of money into just trying to keep this floor cool. And we used to crank the ACs all day and all night, and it would still stay a little bit warmer than it kept the guys comfortable. So one of the benefits that we've been able to enjoy since the white roof, it's kept the temperatures lower on the floor.
After the success of the Bowery mission, Juan Carlos and his team are in the midst of painting an entire block on the Lower East Side.
Wow, you can go quite a long way, eh?
Oh yeah, you can keep on going. One of our missions nationally and especially internationally is to hopefully do 5% of the rooftops every single year. And if we do that, then we'll save 24 billion metric tons of CO2. That's exactly the same amount of CO2 that was created in 2010. So essentially, by the year 2030, we'll have turned off the world for one entire year.
So it's the start of something very significant.
This is the beginning of the movement.
Per capita, the United Arab Emirates has one of the highest energy consumption levels in the world. In the last 30 years alone, carbon dioxide levels have doubled. I'm Omar Khalifa and I'm in Abu Dhabi to see how a pioneering development in the desert could lead to a more sustainable future. Just a few kilometers away from downtown Abu Dhabi, Masdar City is a community built around renewable energy. Free of skyscrapers and free of cars, it's a growing city of institutes, businesses, shops, and residents with a desire to live more sustainably.
Welcome to Masdar.
Thank you. Alan Frost is the director, and he's taking us on a tour.
Let's do it. Perfect, let's go. Okay. These are our personal rapid transport vehicles, so PRTs we call them.
Yeah.
And they're basically the little bubble car that takes people from where they drop their carbon cars at the edge of the city up to the Masdar Institute.
Brilliant.
Let's hop in.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's go. After you.
Thank you. I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie.
Welcome to Masdar City. أهلا بكم في مدينة مصدر. Doors closing.
Why build a city like this in the middle of the desert?
Well, you're right. I mean, we couldn't have picked a more difficult place. But from an Abu Dhabi point of view, it was about using today's oil and gas revenues to create an industry for the future. So, you know, Masdar is more than just a city. It's actually a renewable energy initiative.
How many people live here?
There's about 130 people currently living here, and there's around about 250 students currently.
That's a small number now, but over the next 10 years, Masdar is hoping to populate the city with a whopping 90,000 people. But for now, the first and only completed part of the city is Masdar Institute, a graduate research facility. Sustainability here begins with design.
This is on the right-hand side here, the orange is GRC, so it's glass fibre reinforced concrete. You know, what it does is it screens the window openings.
Yeah.
So it lets you know, an amount of daylight in, but not too much daylight, so that people are sort of struggling with lighting levels inside.
Okay.
And then on the other side here, it's ETFE. Don't get me to explain what that is, but it's a system of compressing air. So it basically uses that as the insulation.
Outside, it's pretty hot, let's be honest. It's about 30 degrees outside, humidity's about 80%. Yes. But here it feels pretty cool.
It is, and that's, you know, that's one of the benefits of Masdar. So the very original design was based on a traditional Arabic city, oriented the city on a 45-degree angle to north-south. So basically, for most of the day, you can find shade. By doing that, and then by reducing the width between the streets, and also by the orientation in terms of bringing wind into the city through what we called our green fingers, comparing this to downtown Abu Dhabi, for example, on the same day, we're about 15 degrees Celsius cooler.
And what's this humongous thing here?
This thing is the wind tower. So it's basically a modern interpretation of a traditional Arabic wind tower called an al-barajil. And the idea is that this is oriented in 3 different directions. So depending on the prevailing wind direction, the louvers at the top are opened up. The wind comes down, and then they come down this funnel to the bottom. And where the air's not cool enough, we actually add a fine mist. So there's like a cooling mist that comes down, and because the evaporation actually manages to cool the areas.
So do you think something like this could be transferable into downtown Abu Dhabi?
Absolutely. So I think, a lot of new developments, I think, will go back to traditional ways of doing things,
But some new developments will be looking at new ways of doing things. The Beam Down project has the potential to convert sunlight into electricity in a much more efficient way than other technologies. It takes the conventional concentrated solar power design and literally turns it on its head.
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
So let me first ask you to wear the helmet in order to avoid any problem with your head if you pass by the heliostat and you get fried in the way there. And this vest.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's this crazy looking contraption here?
So this is just an experiment. We're trying to develop a new concentrated solar power plant. This is a small pilot plant that has the possibility of storing energy, and the whole idea is to concentrate the light that comes from a vast area into a point on the ground. I'll wear my glasses, otherwise I'm gonna cry.
Should we go and meet your students?
Yeah, come.
And they can tell us how it all works. The heat generated by this small pilot plant has the potential to reach over 700 degrees Celsius, which is the same temperature as inside a volcano. This amount of energy can power up to 15 homes for an entire year with clean electricity.
All these mirrors that you can see, they are called the heliostats. So the function of these heliostats is that the sunlight falls on them. They're not completely flat. And all these heliostats have a sensor that points them towards the central tower. The rays get concentrated on the receiver, so you have higher intensity at the receiver.
By capturing heat at the base of the tower as opposed to the top, energy loss in the Beam Down project is almost completely eliminated. It's precisely this kind of research and development that makes Masdar what it is. It seems that Masdar is more than just a city.
Absolutely. So it's an initiative across the whole renewable energy landscape. But in addition to that, it's trying to bring a new industry into Abu Dhabi and into the region. So it's really about renewable energy and clean technology. It sounds a bit corny, but we like to think of ourselves as the Silicon Valley of renewable energy.
Chemicals in fertilizers, intensive land use, and methane from livestock are just a few of the ways that farming can be damaging to the environment. But a new farming model is proving that what's good for the environment can be good for business too. I'm Russell Beard in South Wales to meet a dairy farmer who's turning his waste into a resource. How are you? What's the plan?
The plan, I'm going to put some cow poo in the digester.
It's cow poo in the digester, okay.
Cow slurry produces methane, which is 20 times more damaging to the environment than CO2. But to Wyn Evans, this is a precious source of energy.
Is that you? What makes your farm different to all the other farms that would just really keep this and use it as a fertilizer straight away? What makes your operation different?
30-odd years ago, I decided I'd have a go at taking the biogas or methane out of this poo and use it as a fuel.
Wyn collects the slurry in an underground reservoir beneath the milking shed.
Come on then, let's have your scraper.
All right.
Follow me.
Have a quick look at that.
It's diluted and pumped into a holding tank, and from there into Wyn's homemade digester, where the biogas is generated.
Right, now you're standing on the digester.
This is the digester, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
The gas is coming out through here.
Uh-huh.
and it's going along the pipe, and it's going along to a gas holder.
The slurry in the digester is mixed to release the methane. The gas is then pumped through a tube and reaches a boiler. Some of it is combusted to heat the water tank, and some is even used to fire up a cooking stove. But even the byproduct of the digester is a valuable resource to the farm.
Oh, man. Okay, what do you call this?
Digestate.
Digestate. You see that?
So that's the digested slurry, and that's a very good fertilizer.
Wynn's organic digestate can protect soil against compaction and erosion and is high in nutrients.
It's feeding the soil to create more grass.
Which feeds the cows, who make the poo. You've really closed the loop on it, and it...
Yes. Yeah. The other thing, on a cold day, you know, you can put your hand in it.
What?
It's nice and warm.
But Wynn's energy-saving efforts don't stop here. He's equipped the farm with photovoltaic panels, which allow him to sell surplus power back to the grid, and installed a ground source heat exchange system, which uses a metal coil buried underground to extract heat from the earth. By using this combination of green resources, Wynn can generate up to 50% of the total energy the farm needs.
I'm going to hand you over to Linda now, who's making the cheese. Now, the cheese-making system uses a fair bit of energy. On a day like today, most of it is coming from renewables.
Hello? Hi.
So you're going to have to give me a hand now. So
okay.
You roll the sleeves, give your arms and your hands a good scrub because you've been out with Dad and I know where he's been. So yeah, we'll get on and do the next bit now.
Okay.
Basically, you've got a close link of energy where the whey, which we've just drained away, is going straight back into the slurry digester.
Yeah.
That's being used to heat the water. My cheese-making process.
This is kind of the energy made visible again.
Yes. 10 years ago, most people would have thought no one's an energy producer, but you are now. Potentially, you are. Although we're a dairy farm, he's like an energy farmer. Not just livestock, it's farming energy.
So this part of the world is obviously very windy, and I can't help but notice you've got this fantastic looking wind turbine that's doing its job very well by the looks of it. I mean, it looks like you're making energy out of thin air.
The thicker the air, the better, because it contains more energy. Not only farming the land, but we're farming the resources that pass over the land. If you can produce your food using the least amount of fossil fuel, it's better for everybody. And people will say to you, what do you save? It's peanuts. But if you've got enough peanuts, you have a sack full.
There's no farming down here. Why have you brought me down here?
Although I don't go in the sea much or on the sea much, it's part of my life. And I'm watching it all the time. Once we get sea level rise, we get a tremendous amount of erosion, tremendous amount of people who have to leave the coastal cities. That's why I'm really doing what I do. But back in 1999, our first grandchildren came along, and I didn't want their grandchildren saying to them that your grandfather knew what was happening with climate change and was in a position to do something about it. I don't want them to say, well, you know, what did he do?
I'm under orders to create a scent line, so I've done my scent trail, but this is really scary because they're all coming out.